I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I have been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly one of the worst of my entire life. But I am a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Jussie Smollett. We have an update on the case, at least in Chicago. Not the federal case, but the local case in Chicago. All charges have been dropped. Totally. No jail time, no nothing. Now, this comes as a result of the Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Foxx, deciding to drop it. She was like, look, if he gets convicted, he'll do community service, but he already did community service, so there's no point in going through with the case. So it's been dropped. Now, she at one point had recused herself because she could not show impartiality, or she could not appear to show impartiality due to certain witnesses that were in the case. Who those are, I don't know, but we'll digress. But somehow she's still in the case. Now, I heard that she couldn't get the feds to take it, so she got back on the case. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how you recuse yourself, but then unrecuse yourself and drop the case. What's going on? Chicago politics could be. Now, don't get it twisted. This does not mean that he is innocent. Okay, we all know what happened. Everybody in America and the whole wide world of almost 8 billion people know what happened. We know that this guy, Jussie Smollett, hired two big Nigerians to pretend to be racist white people with MAGA hats on and beat him up because he was gay and put a rope on his neck, this, that, and the third. We know that happened. We know that their brothers got arrested when they came back from Nigeria. We know that the police raided their house and found all the paraphernalia that was pretty much used in the case. We know that we saw them on videotape buying the gloves, masks, red hats, all that stuff. We know all that. The problem is that when they got to the courtroom, they couldn't really prove it. And let's not also think that the case was dropped totally with no kind of deal. There was a deferred prosecution deal. What this means is he has to fulfill certain things in order for the charges to be dropped. In this case, it's already community service that he has done or may do. And then the 10 grand that he posted for the bond, he can't get that back. That's pretty much it. I mean, there could be some bags of money up under the table from different people that are not Jussie, from big time politicians, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker. I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there that could happen. You could see some corruption get revealed later on down the line as it relates to this case. So that's pretty much where we stand with that. Now, I can't say I'm surprised. Not at all. When I saw that press conference with the Chicago police and you had the superintendent out there, I think his name is Eddie Johnson. When you had him out there talking about, when he was asked the question, what would the best result be of this case? What would the proper punishment be for Jussie Smollett? He was talking about he should apologize and pay the money back that he made the Chicago police spend on the investigation. You know, that's kind of what I was getting from that it would be no jail time. So I figured that would be the case. We're not really in any kind of new territory. Now, to go back a little bit to kind of backtrack, the case was so-called falling apart according to sources. They're saying that the check that was given to the brothers from Jussie was actually for personal training, and it said so on the memo line, although the brothers were saying that they got paid to actually beat him up at first. Okay, so you got some conflicting things there. I think what happened is when the lawyers realized that the check did have personal training written on it, they probably contacted the brothers and said, okay, we could change the story. We still got enough time. It's Chicago, liberal city, not really a big deal. We can now say that it was personal training, but it might have been a little bit more than was expected. Also, the police came out in that press conference and said that Jussie wrote that letter to himself 6 days prior but the federal police have not actually determined that yet for 100% certain. Although, like I said, we all know that that's the case because when they went into the brother's house, the Chicago police, they found magazines with letters cut out. So we all know that they did that. We all know that Jussie made them do that. But since the FBI or anybody else had not determined that yet for 100% certain, then you couldn't use that in court. You see, I think if they went through with the case, they could have got something, even though those two things, the letter and the check, may have kind of been questionable. There's still enough evidence here to go through with it. You had the brother's original testimony. You had the fact that you saw witnesses that lived in the apartment complex. They saw the brothers there on that night. I mean, we have enough evidence here, in my opinion, to get them on something in the local Chicago case. But like I said, you're dealing with corrupt politics. This ain't nothing really new. It's been that way since the Al Capone days, Prohibition. It just manifested itself in different ways. This lady, Kim Foxx, I don't know who she knew in the case as far as the witnesses or if she knew Jussie, but I do know that she has known people that have been on the show. She's been in pictures with Common. She's been in pictures with these, these feminist type people, kind of an SJW liberal type. So, of course, she would most likely want to protect a guy like Jussie, especially since she's been involved with people that are kind of against the MAGA folks. It just kind of makes sense. I found it really crazy that she was able to recuse herself and then get back on the case. It's pretty weird. But back to the federal thing. We're not done with that yet. The FBI, they are determining who wrote that letter to Jussie, how they did it, when they did it, where it came from. They're determining that. So that right there, if Jussie is implicated in that, he could face some serious jail time. So he's not out of the woods yet. In the Chicago case, as many of you, and towards the end of the whole situation, I did as well. We predicted this would happen. There would be no jail time. I thought there'd be more of a penalty, maybe like in the 7 figures, but 10 grand. I mean, come on, that's nothing. So the case is also sealed. A judge granted that request. The case would be sealed. So the lawyers for Smollett are out here talking crazy, talking about this is vindication. You know, he was unjustly targeted and he was really a victim in the case. It was a rush to judgment, this, that, and the third. All that's just BS. All that's just talk for publicity's sake. But we all know what's the real situation. Unfortunately, you're not able to get justice all the time. But we'll see when it comes to the federal case what happens. Is he going to get locked up on that or what? I doubt that he'll get some kind of sweet deal with a corrupt state's attorney like Kim Foxx when we're talking about the FBI. But only time will tell before we actually know what happens with that case. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Are you surprised that Jussie Smollett will be doing no jail time, that the case has basically been dismissed, that he only has to do like community service, which has already been done, I think, and then surrender 10 grand out of his own money for the bond that he already gave to get out of jail for the first time? Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. I would be surprised if the federal case, which is still pending, is ended in the same way. I'd be totally surprised because that, you're talking about mail fraud. I mean, he put some fake ricin or something in the envelope. The only way he'd be able to get off of that is if they can't prove that he was involved with sending it. But I find that very hard to believe since they found a connection, a clear connection between Jussie and the Osundairo brothers, since they found the MAGA hats, the masks, the gloves, envelopes, magazines with letters cut out. They found all of that in their house. So, I mean, it's clear. It's a clear connection there. How they're going to prove it in court, I'm not really sure about the method, but all the materials necessary to do it are there. But we'll see once that time comes what happens. But for right now, the case has been dropped in Chicago. He goes free. He's home today. And that's it. So whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.